साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। कलये सुन्दराकारं सदैकप्रियदर्शनम् अज्ञाननाशकं देवं सद्गुरुं मुरलीधरम् यस्य स्मरणमात्रेण जिह्वायां वर्धते स्वयं महामन्त्रस्तं भजामि मुरलीधरदेशिकम्। प्रेमामृतयो मुरलीनादैः श्रीकृष्णरूपेण पुराववर्ष अद्यापि सोऽयं मुरलीधराख्यो पुष्णाति प्रेम्णा भुवनं सहर्षम्। कीर्तिते तु महामन्त्रे तत्राविर्भूय तत्क्षणम् सुप्रसन्नो भवेद्यस्तं प्रेमिकवरदं भजे। मुरलीमण्डितकरकमलं मुनिजनमोहनं व्यत्यस्तपादं वनमालाधारिणं प्रेमभक्तमण्डलनित्यकीर्तितं श्रीप्रेमिकवरदं आश्रयेऽहम्। नामसङ्कीर्तनं यस्य सर्वपापप्रणाशनं प्रणामो दुःखशमनः तं नमामि हरिं परम्। हरिनारायण 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 This is a very common way of starting a bhajan session in most of South India. And whenever there is a Sampradaya bhajan, it begins with Harinarayana. As we move a little north towards the Konkani side, the Konkani area, you get to hear Hari Mana Tumi Govinda Mana Tumi Gopala Mana Tumi Narayana.
Hari Mana Tumi
Govinda Mana Tumi Gopala Mana Tumi Narayana. A little further north, Pandrapur, we don't have to say anything. There's only Nama there. Ramakrishna Hari, Vasudeva Hari. Further north, you can hear Hari Gun Gavat Nachungi, Mirabai. Go further up to towards the northern parts of India, anywhere, puja starts with Shriman Narayana 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 Shriman Narayana Narayana Narayana. Go further to the west, to the east and Varanasi, we have great Mahans like Kabir Das ji, our Malabhacharya ji, who have always glorified Nam Sankirtanam. Again, talking about Narayana Hari, Narayana Hari. Kabir Das ji says, Hari bolo bhai, Hari na bolo, Vagu Ram Durai. Kahat Kabira, Hari gun gana, Mavat nashat, Vaikuntha jana. So you lose the ahankara of Mam, me, Mavat, Javat. Vaikuntha jana. That's how you go to Vaikuntha. East of India, we don't have to talk about anything else, but we have our own Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who only says, sing Nama. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Southwest, Annamacharya, Govinda, 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 Govinda everywhere. So like this, the whole of Bharat is filled with Harinama Sankirtana. We can relish the charitras of many great Mahans, including Prahlada, Dhruva, Ambarisha, Gajendra and many others mentioned in our Puranas and Itihasas, to the modern saints like Shirdi Sai Baba or Ramana Maharishi, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Sadashiva Brahmendra, Yogi Ram Surat Kumar, Ammalu Ammal, our Shri Krishna Premiana and many others including our Guru Maharaj. They all have only one mantra for us, Hari Nama. Our Purandara Dasa, he sings Hari Narayana, Hari Narayana, Hari Narayana Yenu Manuve.
Hari Narayana, Hari Narayana, Hari Narayana, Yenu Manave. Hari Narayana, Hari Narayana, Hari Narayana, Yenu Manave. Narayana
So, in this song, Sri Purandaradasa, he describes to us how this Harinama came to earth and it became so popular. So he says, Narada, imagine like a helicopter carrying lots of seeds. He goes by and he drops all the seeds and it starts growing as plants. Then they become tree. Then they give flowers and then they give fruits. But they do not, you need some fertilizer, isn't it? And the fertilizer are all these bhaktas who have, glorified the Nama by, out of utmost compassion. They have gone through a lot. They've gone through a lot only out of utmost compassion for us. To understand this, we need to deep further into this topic, and only then we can feel the compassion that they've had for us. They've given us such a simple, easy path, just chanting names, no rules. You can go do it anywhere. You can even do it in the toilet, right? Our Guru Maharaj says there's no restriction to this. The name Rama can be chanted anywhere, right? So much compassion. You can never say, I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to do namaskara in the morning. I have to rush early at 5 o'clock. It's all right. You can just say the Nama anywhere, right? Who can give us such an easy method? Right? How much of compassion they would have had. So, when we think of why they chose Narada or why Purandaradasa thought about Narada for this song, just think about it. In the case of Prahlada, right? Even while Prahlada was in his womb, it was Narada who came and sowed this seed of Harinama. Right? And Prahlada, despite being the son of a demon, Hiranyakashipu, a great demon, he still became the greatest devotee. Even today, when we chant the Dhyana Shloka of Srimad Bhagavatam, we say, Prahlada Narada Parashara Pundarika Vyasamvarisha Shuka Shaunaka Bhishma Dalbhyan Rukmangada Arjuna Vasishta Vibhishanadi Punyaniman Parama Bhagavatan Smarami. When we talk of Parama Bhagavatas, Prahlada's name comes before Narada. Right? So that is the greatness that Nama can give to anybody. Right? But this Nama Sankirtanam was sowed into Prahlada's mind by our great Narada. When we think of Dhruva, a 5-year-old boy who was, very angry that his stepmother did not allow him to sit on his father's lap. He felt insulted in that whole courtroom that everybody was there. When his stepmother pushed him away, he was insulted. He was a prince. He was the son of a king. And he still couldn't sit on his father's lap. This little boy, Dhruva, 5-year-old, he goes into the forest to see Bhagwan. Right? And again, the person who came there to teach him how to go about it was our sage Narada. He comes there and he tells Dhruva how to do this, how to do this dhyana of Bhagwan. He gives him the Bhagwan Nama, he gives him the Upadesha, and Dhruva becomes a star. Right? Even today, to look at our directions, to see the world map, we look at the pole star. Dhruva sits there. Right? So that is the greatness of Nama Sankirtanam. That is what Nama Sankirtanam can do to anybody. Then we have this great hunter, Ratnakara, a bandit. Right? He was merciless. He would kill and eat anything. He would kill anybody for getting wealth. Right? This Ratnakara, he couldn't even say Rama. When Narada came to him and he did the Upadesha of Rama, all that he could say was Mara. Right? Narada tried. He still kept saying Mara, 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 which gave the Rama Rama, and thus he became the greatest Adikavi, Valmiki, who wrote the Ramayana, and because of whom even today we know the gunas of Ramachandra Prabhu. Okay? So again, it was our Narada Muni. So we have a small song for Narada Muni dedicated to him our Guru Maharaj has beautifully composed a song, and let's remember Sage Narada while we sing this song.
நாரதரை பணிந்திடுவோம் வாரி நாரதரை பணிந்திடுவோம் வாரி நாரதரை பணிந்திடுவோம் வாரி நாரதரை பணிந்திடுவோம் வாணியன் முதல்வரை வினை தரித்தவரை வாணியன் முதல்வரை வினை தரித்தவரை பன்னிலை பரமனை பாடுமதா பன்னிலை பரமனை பாடுமதா நாரதரை பணிந்திடுவோம் வாரி நாரதரை பணிந்திடுவோம் பக்தரில் முதல்வராம் பக்தியடி பவராம் பக்தரில் முதல்வராம் பக்தியடி பவராம் நாரமூர்த்தியின் பதமர கோடி நாரமூர்த்தியின் பதமர கோடி நாரதரை பணிந்திடுவோம் வாரி நாரதரை பணிந்திடுவோம் தரணி தரணில் பக்திகளை கவனி தரணி தரணில் பக்திகளை கவனி முரளிதரனுடன் நாமும் சேர முரளிதரனுடன் நாமும் சேர நாரதரை பணிந்திடுவோம் வாரி நாரதரை பணிந்திடுவோம்
When it was the end of Treta Yuga is after Ramachandra Prabhu's time, and the Dwapara Yuga was overlapping. That's when the avatara of Sri Vyasa Bhagwan happened. In our Vishnu Sahasranamam we chant Vyasaya Vishnu Rupaya Vyasave. So he himself is actually an avatar of Vishnu, right? And he came to earth for our sake. He did a lot of work which we will talk about later. And one day when he went to offer his Sandhya Vandanam in the banks of the river Saraswati, he closed his eyes and he was trying to think about all that he has done and how it will be useful for the future. And at that time, he could see how the people of Kali would be, how we all would be. And he says, Bhautikanam cha bhavanam shakti hrasam cha tatkritam ashradhanan nisattvanan adharmanan hrasitayushaha durbhagamscha janan vikshya munir divyena chakshusha. So he saw Sarva Varnashramanan Yadhyadhyau Hitamamo Dhadatruk. So he says Shakti Hrasam means no strength. They don't have the strength of people in the previous yugas. So you do some work, I'm tired. Today we have a satsang or we have a bhajan, but I've come back from work, brought the kids from school, I'm tired, have dinner, sleep. Right? So Shakti Hrasam. He does not say it is not good, or he's not saying that, he's not taunting us. That is the fact, right? Then he says, no Shraddha. No Shraddha when they are doing anything, because their mind is running so fast. Right? They are doing one thing here, but their mind is thinking about what tomorrow, what next, what is for dinner. Even kids, even while they are having lunch, Ma, what's for dinner? Right? So they don't have the Shraddha. They are thinking fast. No intelligence. Right? Sometimes we say our kids are more intelligent than we are. But sometimes we also wonder what actually intelligence means. Even I haven't understood. But according to Vyasa, probably even I am not anywhere near intelligence. And then he also says they have a very short life. If you see Ramachandra Prabhu's life, he lived Dasharatha's life, right? When Sri Ramachandra Prabhu was to be coronated, they say Dasharatha was 60,000 years old. Right? So our lifespan is hardly 100. Right? So he says they live a very short life, and on top of all this, they don't have the best of fortune. Right? So all the bad things put together for Kali Yuga. Right? So now this sage, he could have just said, done. What can I do? I've done whatever I could, and that's enough. No, but he doesn't stop there. He starts feeling pain for the people of Kali Yuga. He starts thinking of them. He's like a mother, Even when the child is not good at something, we put in our best efforts to see that they succeed. So the sage wants us to succeed. He thinks, what can I do? What is it that will make my children, or will make the people of Kali Yuga attain the holy feet of Bhagavan, right? Attain that nectar of liberation. Right? And he's sitting and he's thinking of all the work that he has done. The first thing he's done is he's segregated the Vedas. He's brought in everything, and then he's segregated them into 4 portions. Given it to 4 Maharishis. He's given the Rig Veda to Paula Maharishi. He's given Sama Veda to Sage Jaimini, the Yajur Veda to Vaishampayana, and Angira Muni gets the Atharva Veda. The Upanishads and the Puranas he's given to Sage Roma Harshana, and he's told all of them to continue teaching it to their set of disciples, and whatever Veda they learn, he says they will come back to the same point of attaining liberation. Right? And also the same with the Upanishads and the Itihasas and Puranas. But then he thinks there's no point, because the people of Kali Yuga will not have time to even go through 1 chapter of the Vedas, leave alone the whole of the Vedas. Right? So that's a kind of waste, right, for the people of Kali Yuga. Right? Then he does some more vicharam, and then he thinks about the great Mahabharata that he wrote. Right? It's in the form of a story. It contains all the principles of the Veda. It is the essence of Vedas, and it has the Bhagavad Gita. Right? It has Vishnu Sahasranama, and he thinks, will this be enough? Then he realizes that people of Kali Yuga will not even have the time to read the whole of the Mahabharata. Even if they do, they may not be able to completely understand the concepts. We can only look at it broadly, that there was some cousin brothers who fought with each other, and there was this Krishna who did all kinds of, mischievous ideas, and somehow won the war and gave it to Yudhishthira, right? And many of us even question, was Yudhishthira right in doing what he did? Was Yudhishthira right in doing that? Right? But we completely don't understand why Yudhishthira did that. What was the situation? When we call him Dharmaputra, when we call him, he's one who would do anything for righteousness, right? What is that righteousness? I don't think we understand completely. So he felt that was also too tough for them. And Vyasacharya, it seems, went into a depression. We talk of depression where if we don't get a proper job, if we don't get to, if our children don't perform well, or we have to do a couple of things which are hard for us, we feel like stressed and depressed, right? We use it very easily. These words are very common these days. Stress is told even by 5-year-olds, right? So, but here you see Vyasacharya is actually depressed for some people who are going to be born at least 1,000,000 years later. Not even in his Dwapara Yuga, right? And he is sitting depressed, he doesn't know what to do, and he is pondering, have I not written enough about Bhagwan? Is this why this is happening? Have I not written about the Bhagavata Dharma? What will make the people of Kali Yuga find interest in my work? Not his work for showing his greatness, his work for our own benefit, right? And then he feels, have I not done my work sincerely? Have I not done it efficiently? Imagine this Vyasa Mahamuni who has segregated the Vedas, which we can't even go through in our entire lifetime, and he is talking about whether he has done his work efficiently. And he's sitting depressed in his ashram, and the person who comes here is again our sage Narada. He visits the ashram and he sees Vyasa Mahamuni sitting like this in a very sad state. He doesn't know what to do. And then sage Narada comes and he asks him, what happened? Why are you so sad? And Vyasa Mahamuni says, you should know. I'm sure you know, and that is why you're here. Right? And Narada says, no, I don't know anything. Can you tell me why are you sad? You've done so much. No, you're called Veda Vyasa. You've written the Mahabharata. And that too, who wrote it for you? Ganesha. Ganesha came and wrote it for you. You're so great. Why are you feeling sad? Then Narada Mahamuni says, today morning when I was doing my Sandhya Vandanam, I closed my eyes and I saw this people of Kali Yuga and it really scared me. They don't have time for anything. What should I do for them? How will they attain Bhagwan? How will they feel this ruchi of Bhagwan Nama? Right? So Narada Mahamuni sits and he says, you have not brought to light Bhagwan's exalted and unblemished glories. You have not glorified him enough. Then Vyasamuni says, what are you saying? I have written Sahasra Shirasha Purusha. Right? Does that not describe Bhagwan? Narada says, that only says Bhagwan has 1,000 heads, 1,000 hands. Right? Imagine if somebody thinks of Bhagwan like that, it'd be scary, isn't it? Right? So he says, no, that is not enough. Then he says, Narada says, you have a perfect vision. Actually, you know, right, how these people can be elevated, how these people can be liberated. Right? Then Vyasa Mahamuni says, can you please explain this to me a little bit more elaborately? Right? Then Narada Mahamuni says, I will tell you my life story. With that, maybe you will get an idea of what to do. Right? So he says, Narada Mahamuni tells his story. He says, he was born to a servant maid. And his mother engaged in services to Brahmanas who followed the principles of Vedanta. And once in his village, a bunch of Brahmanas came to tent for the 4 months of Chaturmasya. We are also going through Chaturmasya now. It's called the rainy season. During this time, the great sages would never go traveling from village to village because they didn't want to hurt any Jiva Jantu. There will be plants and living beings that are just growing at that time. And because they shouldn't cause any harm to them, they would stay put in one place for all the 4 months. And it is a great privilege for these villages when they have these sadhus coming to stay in their village for those 4 months. It will be like a celebration for them. Right? Every house will decorate their houses grandly. They will put up the tents for these mahans, and they would lay their beds and provide food for them every day, cook for them or make facilitate whatever they want. And they would stay there for 4 months. And his mother was also one of the people in charge of serving these brahmanas. She was also working in other houses, doing the daily chores for them. And when these Vedantis, they came to this village and they stayed there, they put a tent for the Chaturmasya. This Narada, he was only about 4 years old, a little boy, right? And his mother would actually leave him at home every day when she's going to work. But when these Brahmanas came, she told him, why don't you go and stay there, right? You can watch whatever they are doing and your time will pass. This boy Narada, as a little child itself, he was not a very outgoing, talkative person. He was very shy, very quiet. He didn't like to go and play like other children, right? So he was in one place. If you say sit there, he will be sitting there. So his mother told him, why don't you go at least sit there? You'll get to listen to them. So the boy agreed. The next day morning, he went and sat there while his mother went to work. She came back from work and she asked him, what did you do today? You asked me to sit there. I was sitting there and listening to them. And his mother said, in Tamil we say, Ashade, why are you sitting quietly? When they come there, do namaskaram. They will bless you, right? And their blessings will help you grow. So the next day, this boy, he sat there and whenever a sadhu passed by, he did namaskaram, right? Then that day when he came home, he was happy. He has done what his mother has said, right? So the mother asked him, what did you do today? I went very early in the morning. These sadhus were going somewhere and they were coming. Whenever they went out and whenever they came in, I did namaskaram. Again she said, Ashade, where did they go? They went to have a bath. You should have also gone with them, no? Right? When they are bathing in one side, you should stand on the other side. All the, the sandalwood paste and everything that will flow along the river, it will fall on you, right? And that is a blessing. So the next day the boy went along. Whenever the sadhus went, he also went and he stood there. And when the sadhus had a bath, like his mother told, then the gandha and all of that flowers and whatever that flew from their bodies, and when it touched him, there was a transformation. He didn't know what it was, but there was a transformation. He felt better. He enjoyed it. Then when he came home that day, he told his mother, I did this. Then his mother said, very good. From tomorrow, after you have a bath and they also come, take their clothes, wash it. Do some Pada Puja, you get flowers on the way. Take some flowers, put it on their feet. The boy did that, right? Slowly she groomed him into this seva of the sadhus. And he started liking it. Then whenever he did this, he was also listening to whatever they are chanting, whatever they are saying, right? So obviously, little child, he started learning that also, right? And he was enjoying it. Then one day, his mother went to work in some house, and then usually when she comes, she'll be coming back by 1 or 2 in the afternoon. She'll bring the leftovers from those houses, and that is what they would eat for the day. But this one particular day, she didn't come. This little boy, he started feeling hungry. It's already 1 o'clock, usual time, lunch time. The mother has not come. He sits there, doesn't want to ask anybody. He's not been given permission for that, right? So he doesn't want to ask anybody. He's sitting there and waiting. He looks at the door, he looks at the sadhus. The sadhus are eating, 1 o'clock, their lunchtime, right? He keeps looking at them and the mother's way. Then after some time, the sadhus finish eating, everything is done, they have started cleaning, his mother is still not there. It's about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon now. How much can a child bear? Right? He starts holding his stomach and he starts crying. Right? Still doesn't ask anybody. He's sitting there holding his stomach and crying. Then one of the sadhus sees him crying and he comes to that little boy and says, I see you every day here, you're so happy, you keep doing so much service to us, why are you crying today? What happened? And this boy said, my mother didn't come. Oh, she'll come, don't worry. It's almost evening, she's going to come back. That's okay, but I'm feeling hungry also. Right? So then the sadhu said, okay, we have all finished eating and there is some amount of food left. One of the sadhus, he didn't eat fully, so it is called uchishta. Right? There is some left over. If you are comfortable, eat it. The boy agrees. He says, yes, yes. So the sadhu, he brings that food and he gives it to this boy. The moment he had one bite of it, a magic happened. Right? He just didn't feel like leaving that place after that. His mother came. He's a little boy. His mother said, come, let's go home. And he says, no, I'll stay here for some more time. Right? And this boy, in the association of these sadhus and because of their mercy, he also could listen to all these Krishna Leelas, Krishna Kathas, and he got engrossed in them. Right? Krishna's Leelas, who doesn't like? Even a little baby would like, especially the stealing of butter, isn't it? So he sat there and he listened to all these stories, and listening to all of these Bhagwan's gunas, it increased his thinking, the divinity in his mind, step by step, step by step, step by step. Right? Now the 4 months are over, right? And this boy, he has almost lost all his ignorance now, right? And he's feeling he cannot stay without saying this Nama, Rama, Krishna, Hari, right? It has become very tasty. He has seen the taste of Bhagwan Nama, right? Once you get the taste of Bhagwan Nama, they say it doesn't, it just transforms you. After that, you can't do anything else. You're only chanting Bhagwan Nama, right? We have some great songs written, about the taste of Rama Nama. Bhadrachala Ramadas, he sings, O Rama, ni namam emi ruchira. Right? And in that he says all the, whatever dishes we have made today for Bhagavan, he says, that is all nothing. Unless it has the name Rama in it, it tastes nothing. Right? Then even our Purandara Dasa writes, right? Rama Nama Payasake, Krishna Nama Sakkare. So that is the sweetness. Now after all these 4 months were over and the devotional service was going on and on and on, one day this boy gets up, there's nothing, the tents are gone, the sadhus are gone, there's nothing, and this boy is very disappointed. He feels like there's nothing left in his life, because for the past 4 months, all that he has done is get up, go to that tent, sit there, listen to Bhagwan Nama, fall at the feet of these sadhus, wash their clothes, eat their food, He didn't do anything else. So now all of a sudden they are all gone. Right? And back to his mother. And now his mother was very scared. He was the only son. Right? If this only son goes away from home, Sanyasya Poitana, who will take care of the house? So she clings on to him. Wherever he goes, she also goes. Right? And this is how another 1 month passes by, but this little boy is not interested in anything now. Right? But he knows his responsibilities towards his mother, so he listens to his mother and he's living with her. Then one day, his mother, she went out and she was bitten by a snake and she passed away. And when she passed away, he did all her rites, final rites, very little, right, 5-year-old boy. But after that, his aim was to find those sadhus. Okay? So he started going to various places. First he visited lots of towns, then villages. He expected them to be there. Then he went to some animal farms, some mines, some flower gardens, nurseries, some forests. He couldn't find anybody. Then after that he went to big hills and mountains. Here, some of these mountains were, it seems in those days there were mountains that were capped with silver, gold and copper and all. So he went across all these mountains, still didn't find anybody. Then he went through the darkest of the forest, very little boy, 5-year-old boy. And we are talking of forests in India where you have wild animals, and the deeper you get into the forest, the more wilder animals are there. And this little boy, he says he went further into the jungle where he had jackals and snakes and so many things. Right? But he couldn't find the sadhus anywhere. Right? Then after traveling so much, he was very tired, right? Mentally, physically, very tired, and he was very hungry. So he saw a river, he went, he had a bath there, and he drank some water. Then it became a little fresh. Right? Then he began to think, what should I do? Suddenly this concept of meditation came to his mind. All those sadhus, they would sit and meditate upon Bhagwan's name. He thought, let me try that. Right? So he sat under a banyan tree and he started meditating upon Bhagwan. He also remembered that the sadhus had told that the Bhagwan is in your heart, right? The Kamala is ulta, right? And Bhagwan is sitting within there. And if you look through inside, you will find him. So he started meditating, he started looking inside. And one final day, he saw Bhagwan. Right? Bhagwan appears with his Shanku, Chakra, Gada, Padma, right? His Pitambara, Kaustubha. He starts looking at Bhagwan. He wants to start looking from the feet to the face. By the time he saw the feet and he was slowly coming up, Bhagwan vanished. Gone. He had meditated for years, right? And now Bhagwan is gone in a split second. He's very disappointed. He cries. He doesn't know what to do. Right? He cries and he prays to Bhagwan. He says, if you don't tell me what is my destiny now, I'm going to give up my life. Right? He knows nothing else. He's crying. And then the most compassionate Bhagwan, he does not appear in front of him again. He talks to him as an ashariri. Right? Doesn't show his body, only his voice. And he says, you are not worth seeing me in this Janma. Right? And he says, you got this glimpse of me only because you did sadhu seva. Right? You are not going to achieve me like this. Right? And Narada asks him, what should I do then? Right? He says, you have to surrender yourself fully unto me. Right? And keep chanting my name. Someday you will be able to see me. So Narada continues chanting and he gets to old age. That lifetime passes away. And that millennium is also over. Right? And he witnesses, Narada is able to witness that Bhagwan is under the water, the Pralaya waters, everybody is under the water, and slowly he sees Brahmaji also entering into that water. So Narada also follows him. Right? This boy also follows him. And then after that, again Brahma starts creating everything, and this boy comes out of Brahma. Right? So he is called the Manasaputra of Brahma. And this time when he comes out, when his Udbhava happens itself, he comes out with the name Narayana. His mouth starts chanting Narayana. He automatically has a tambura in his hand, and he only sings Narayana Nama. Right? He says Narayana, Narayana, Narayana. And this time when he does that, Bhagwan gives him a blessing. He says you can go anywhere, anytime, any place, right? And you can do Nama Pracharam. Right? So Narada is able to go everywhere. Like I told you, every bhakta gets a drishya of Narada and his life transforms. Right? He gives Bhagwan Nama to them. So after telling the story of himself, then Narada tells Sage Vyasa, Veda Vyasa, that this is what you need to do. You have to make everybody chant Bhagwan's name. Right? You have to tell the glories of Bhagwan. Tell the stories of, the glories of Bhagavadas. Not just Bhagwan. Bhagavadas also. The devotees also. By telling the stories of the devotees, the glories of devotees and how they attain Bhagwan, simple men, simple people like us will also like to follow. Right? If I tell you the story of some Gandharva attaining Bhagwan, we are not going to be able to relate to it because we are no Gandharvas. But if I tell you how Saint Tyagaraja attained Bhagwan, how Purandaradasa attained Bhagwan, how Annamacharya attained Bhagwan, you can relate it. How Ramakrishna Paramahamsa did, how Vivekananda Swami did. Right? That gives us motivation. Right? So he says like this, collect the stories of Bhagwan. Write the stories of Bhagwan and Bhagavata and make it simple for the Kali Yuga. Right? Because he says the people of Kali Yuga are also Manda, Sumanda. Not just Manda, Sumanda, he says. Right? Our Adi Shankaracharya says Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Mudha Mate. Right? Similarly, our Guru Maharaj sings Ramanamam solvade kaliyil gadiyam adayum marandal ado gadiyam. Right? Our Purandaradasa is more compassionate. He says Kali Yugadalli Harinamava nenidare Kulakoti Uddhara. Not just you, but your whole Kula. All of them will be liberated. Right?
Kaliyugadali Harinama Bareredale Kaliyugadali Harinama Bareredale Kulakotigalu Dharisubamuranga Kaliyugadali Harinama Bareredale Kulakotigalu
So like this, one day, Narada decides to visit all the Tirtha Sthalas on the earth. You might wonder why sages like Narada who are in Vaikuntha want to come to the earth to visit the Tirtha Sthalas. It's because Harinama happens only here. Right? So when you go to Vaikuntha, Mahans say that when people in Vaikuntha who have reached Vaikuntha, they have nothing to do there. They are sitting there Bhagavan is lying on his Shesha, Lakshmi is massaging his feet, he's closing his eyes, all the they are all sitting there and just staring at Bhagavan. It's a very boring place, it seems. There's no bhajans, there's no dance, right? So for listening to all that, they have to come to the earth only. So now and then, even those people, they take avatars and come down, right? And thereby we benefit. So like that, Narada, he comes down to see all the Tirtha Stalas in the Bhumi, and he's shocked. Right? He says, Manava Katuvaktaro Nirdaya Dharmavarjitaha. Right? So he says, none of them have the slightest amount of truth. Leave alone speaking truth to the others, they even lie to themselves. And then he says, they have no compassion. Even if they go to help somebody, they'll see what is the benefit in that. Right? And then there is no peace. There is no grace in any Tirtha Sthala. It's not being treated with kindness. People go, throw garbage, wash their hands. It's not called a Tirtha anymore. Right? It becomes dirty. Then they are very selfish. For everything they need some benefit. Right? And they have lot of wealth. Right? They don't know how to use it. They won't give charity also. Right? Like that, everybody has fallen a prey to all kinds of pleasures in this world. And nobody is looking at spirituality. Spirituality is some elevated thing that only a few people can do. It's not something everybody can do, is their feeling. Bhagavan did not say that. Bhagavan says all of us can attain him because he is there in every one of us. Right? But we only say, oh, bhajane puja adala avrige. Right? Not for me. So like that, they are, they don't, they become foolish. There is no spirituality, is just a thing, that's right. Right? And there is no one to guide the human race. So he sees all this, he gets scared, he thinks what is going to happen to these people of Kali, but he can't live with them. Right? So he immediately goes back. Right? Now he says, I have to go to Vaikunta. I have to see Bhagavan once. Only then I'll forget all these things that I've seen here. This is too much for me to handle. So he goes to Vaikunta. Bhagavan is sleeping. Lakshmi is massaging his feet. He's closing his eyes as though he doesn't know who's coming. Right? Narada comes there. The moment he sees Narada, he says, oh Narada, it's been such a long time you haven't come to Vaikunta. And Narada says, I went to Bhuloka. I went to Bhuloka. Right? But Bhagavan doesn't take it that, that way. I went to Bhuloka. He says, oh, is it? Was everything fine there? And he tries to tell something to Bhagavan. By then, Bhagavan says, I'm sure everything was fine on earth. He says, no. Some things were wrong. And then, only then Narada, he wants to tell Bhagavan what and all happened there. So he starts telling him. And Bhagavan gives a small smile and he says, I have a perfect plan to sort all this. Right? And Narada says, of course you will have. Right? You are the greatest, so you should know. He says, yeah. And he says, why don't you incarnate on earth and you spread bhakti? You evoke bhakti into the hearts of all beings. Why don't you incarnate? Imagine, Narada just saw the earth and he's shocked, he's scared. He's gone to make himself light by looking at Bhagavan, and Bhagavan tells him, you incarnate on earth. Right? Narada is shocked, but he can't say no to Bhagavan, right? He says, Bhagavan, I can take birth, but what if I get caught in any of these worldly pleasures? What if I forget? Then you'll ask me to take one more janma, and it'll keep going on, right? Already I suffered so much. You gave me one glimpse in my previous janma and I had to wait for so many years. One full millennium to be over, when pralaya happened, only then you gave me this state, right? So I don't want to get caught again. What shall we do? Then Bhagavan, he says, don't worry Narada. if anything like that happens, I will come and take you in my refuge. I will see that you come out of that, worldly pressure. So then Narada, after Bhagavan said this, he says, promise? Bhagavan says, yes, pinky promise. Right? And then Narada decides to descend to the earth. And before we continue about this avatara of Narada, we would like to offer humble pranams to Purandaradasuru.
Guru Purandara Dasare Nimma Charana Kamala Vanambine Kalvarahidanu Vadiye Nanu Pureva Bharamunamare Guru Purandara Dasare Nimma Charana Kamala Vanambine Kalvarahidanu Vadiye Nanu Pureva ಒಂದು ಅರಿಯದ ಭಗವತಿ ನಾನಿಂದು ನಿಮ್ಮನು ಬಂದಿಪೆ ಇಂದಿರೇಶನ ಪಾದ ತೋರಿಸು ತಂದೆ ಮಾಡನು ಸಕೃಪೆ ಭಾರತನ ತನ ಸನ್ನಿಧಾನದಿ ಸಾರಗಾನವ ಮಾಡುವ ಕಾರದಾರಿ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ತೋರಿದ ಶರ ತೋರಿದೆ ಪುರಂದರಾಲಯ ಘಟ್ಟದೊಳು ನೀರಿರುವುದನ್ನವಾಗಲಿಸಲು ಪರಮ ಪುರುಷನು ವಿಪ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಕರಮಣಿಯಾಕ್ಷಿಸೆ ಪರಮನೆ ಗುಣ ಮನವೊಳಗಿತು ಸರ್ವ ಸೂರೆ ಕೊಲಿಸಿದ ಅರಿತು ಮನದಲ್ಲಿ ಜರಿದು ಭವಗಳ ಕರುಣಿಸ ಹೊರಟನು ಅಜಬವಾದಿಗಳ ರಸನಾದ ವಿಜಯ ವಿಠಲನ ಜಾಡಿಪ ನಿಜ ಸುಜ್ಞಾನವ ಕೊಡಿಸಬೇಕೆಂದು ಭಜಿಪೆನೋ ಗುರುವರ ಗುರು ಪುರಂದರ ದಾಸರೇ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಚರಣ ಕಮಲವಲಂಬಿದೆ ಗರ್ವರಹಿತನು ಮಾಡಿಯೇನನು ಕೊರೆವ ಭಾರವು ನಿಮ್ಮದೇ ಕೊರೆವ ಭಾರವು ನಿಮ್ಮದೇ ಕೊರೆವ ಭಾರವು ನಿಮ್ಮದೇ.
With this song, I'm sure you all know who Narada incarnated as. He incarnated as Sri Purandaradasuru. He was named as Srinivasa Nayaka. He was born to a very pious couple, Varadappa Nayaka and Rukmini Mata. He was born in a very wealthy family, a child with a silver spoon. And even as a young child, he was very attracted to wealth. And at the age of 20, he lost his parents, but he inherited all of their wealth. They ran a pawn shop, a pawnbroker. They were pawnbrokers. He got that business. He was also a diamond merchant. And he was very, very well educated, very scholarly. He knew all the Shastras, all the Vedas, right? But he was attracted to wealth, one of the worldly pleasures, right? And he was a contemporary of Krishna Devaraya, and he would go to the king's palace now and then. His speech was very beautiful. He could sell anything to anybody, right? So if he goes to the palace, he would sell precious gems and whatever, diamonds and everything very easily, right? He would tell the Maharani, this diamond will suit only you, nobody else, right? And somehow he would manage and sell his jewels there. And he was earning lots of money, and every time he earned in our Indian language, when we say 1 crore, right? He would put 1 kalasha on top of his house, right? 1 crore, 1 koti, 2 crore, 2 kalashas, 2 kotis, like that. So slowly he came, he had made 9 kalshas on top of his house. So he was also called Navakoti Narayana. Right? And all that he was thinking was, how will I become Dashakoti Damodara? Right? So our Krishna Premi Anna writes, Swapnopi na dadau kinchit brahmanaya kadachana Mahakadaryo Bahudha Bharyaya Pratitopi Sahaha. He had a wife, Saraswati Devi, and she was a Bhagavata by heart. She wanted to donate. They had so much, right? So she always wanted to give in charity. She wanted to call Brahmanas home to, feed them. But Swapnopi na kinchit, right? One day he woke up in the morning sweating. He had had a nightmare, and he was, profusely sweating, and his wife got worried. She came running and she asked him, what happened? Right? Did you have a bad dream? He said, yes. What did you see? Right? Did a snake chase you, or did a tiger chase you? They say that if you dream a monkey, it's very bad luck. Did you dream about a monkey? And he says, all that would have been fine. I dreamt that a Brahmana is coming to our house and he's having food. Don't cook today. Right? Only if you cook, somebody will come. If somebody comes, you feel like giving, so don't cook. Right? In Tamil, they say, right? It seems if he shakes his hand after eating, 1 or 2 grains will fall. No, the birds will come and take that. He doesn't want to give even that. No? So they won't do even that. Right? So like that, nothing should go. He says his favorite puja is Ekadashi Vratam. Right? No Satyanarayana puja, no Janmashtami, nothing. Ekadashi is the best, no cooking. Right? So he's like that. And this Saraswati Devi, she is allowed to do only Tulsi puja. Right? Any other puja you have to do Naivedyam. You have to buy something. For Tulsi you need to offer water only. Right? So she is allowed to do only Tulsi puja. She goes to Tulsi Devi, and she offers water and she says, Satbuddhim Dehi. Okay? Give my husband, not her. Give my husband some Satbuddhim. Okay? This is how our Sinapanayaka is. In that whole village, everybody knew that you can't get even 1 cent, 1 paisa out of him. Right? He was so stingy and nobody would go to him at all. He was known for it. So no one would go bother him. But then one day, one old Brahmin came. This Brahmin, he had a torn dhoti, right? He looked clean and all, but he looked very, he was in rag clothes, so you can make out that he's poor. And along with him, he had one small child also. Right? Pakka begging material. Sinapanayaka thought when he saw him. Right? I should not encourage this man to come inside. So even before that Brahmana came near his shop, he goes out. He said, where have you come? What do you want? Okay? And this Brahmana said, I'm a very poor Brahmin. I come from another village. Okay. I have lots of children and this is my youngest. And I have to do a Upanayana for him. He says, okay. In this entire village, everybody said that only you are a Mahadharmashali. Hey, now you are lying. Right? Nobody can say that. He said, you're wasting your time. I'm not going to give you anything. Just go from here. Right? This Brahmana tries one more attempt. No. They all said that you will give dhanam. Dhanamma. Nothing. Go out of here. Right? If you stand here like this with a rag dress, even my customers who are coming will not come. They'll run away. You go away from here. I haven't done boni today. Right? No, boni agilla hogappa. He chases him from there. And he goes back to his shop. He locks his galla twice. Checks the galla. I have locked it properly. This Brahmana might come again and steal. He locks it properly. This Brahmana, he doesn't stop there. He goes to a house, a big house, 9 kalsha in that house, right? And it's very beautiful. There's a big rangoli. There's a lot of thoran. You can smell tulsi, gandha, right? And the lady inside, she is neatly combed her hair. She's applying kumkum, lots of bangles, geje, all that anklets. And when she's walking out of the house, she looks like Lakshmi to me, right? So he goes there, she sees him, and she immediately says, Namaste Mahabuddhe, Swagatam Vijottama. Right? So she says, welcome, Vijottama, Uttama Brahmana. Right? And she says, please come, but I can't give you anything because my husband cannot even get a samshya that you have come here. Leave alone he knowing that you have come here. Even if he gets a samshya, he's going to be angry with me. Okay? But this Brahmana, he doesn't stop at that. Right? I'm saying Brahmana not as a caste, but a poor Bhagavata. Okay? So he comes there and he tells her, you look like Mahalakshmi. There must be something that you can give me. See, I have this little boy, I have to do Upanayana for him. I have another daughter at home, right? And she needs to be married. Do something. There must be something that you have. And she says, no, I don't have anything. Everything belongs to my husband. And my husband is not going to give you anything, so I don't want to. And he says, please think. He keeps pushing her, please think, do something for me. Then out of some great compassion and some great courage, she remembers that she has a nose ring made of diamond. It has 8 small diamonds in it. And that was given to her during marriage by her father. So technically it does not belong to her husband. So she says, let me give this nose ring. So she takes the nose ring out, she gives it to him and she says, you should not be seen in this town. Right? Take this nose ring and go away. Right? Don't go and show it to anybody around. But this Brahmana, he has to take some revenge, no? He can't go away like that. He takes that nose ring and he goes to Sinappa Nayaka's shop. Right? And now when he's coming to the shop, he's broad-shouldered and he's walking with a lot of pride because now he has business. He's not coming for begging, right? So he comes there and he tells him, I have something, I want to do business with you. Right? And Sinappa Nayaka also is, little shameless only when it comes to money. He's like, okay, even if I scold you, but you have money now? Okay, come. He wipes the seat for him and he says, sit down. Let's talk business. Then he says, I have this nose ring which I want to pledge and get money. And Sinappa Nayaka says, give it to me, but he has to test also, no, to see what it is. So he says, give it to me, let me check. So this Brahmana, he takes out his nose ring and he gives it to Sinappa Nayaka. Sinappa Nayaka looks at it, immediately he knows. Right? If you ask Sinappa Nayaka what is the shape of your wife's eyes, nose, nothing he will know. What color dress she was wearing today, no. Nose ring, he knows. Right? This is definitely hers. So he immediately locks the galla again twice. He says, you please sit here, I will come back in a minute. And he rushes home. He has to find out. Right? He puts the nose ring in the galla itself, locks it, and he goes home. Right? He goes home and he calls Saraswati Devi in full voice, Saraswati! And she comes running and he asks her, where is your nose ring? Finished. Saraswati Devi can't stand there. Her legs are shivering. She doesn't know what to do. Right? She says, today morning I went to shower, no. I removed the nose ring there. Right? And maybe it is there. I'll go pick it up and come. She says, okay, come quickly. I need to see it right now. She goes running to Tulsi Devi. She falls there and she starts crying. She starts crying to her and she says, please do something. You only have to save my honor. Right? I don't want to be known as someone who lied to my husband, but at the same time, I don't want to be punished for what I did. And she sings, Tulasi
Tulasi Devi Namaste. Tulasi Devi Namaste.
suddenly there is a small nose ring that falls. It's exactly like the one that she gave to the Brahmana. So she picks it up, she comes and gives it to Sinappa Nayaka, and she says, "This is the nose ring." He looks at it, it's exactly the same. Right? He is a jeweler and a very sharp jeweler, so he knows all the intricacies. So he sees this and he thinks, how can it be? Diamonds are normally not like, one diamond will not be like the other, it seems. The cuts are different, it seems. How can there be diamonds of the same cut? So he rushes back to the shop now to see the Brahmana's nose ring. So he goes there. When he goes there, he doesn't find anybody in the shop. That person is gone. He opens his gala and he sees the other nose ring there. He takes that in his hand. He puts both together and he's trying to match it. But suddenly they both merge. They become one. He's able to see the blue diamond. He sees the blue prakasham. And in that he is able to see Vaikunta. He is able to see Paravasudeva lying on his Shesha and telling him that if you get into any worldly pressure, I promise that I will come and relieve you. The moment he sees that, he understands why he was born, who he is, what is the purpose of his life. He just dropped everything and he runs home. He goes to Saraswati and he says, "No, I'm very sorry. I got into this miserable attachment for wealth, but now I know what happened. You were able to see Bhagwan, and I didn't even realize that it was Bhagwan when I saw him." He falls at her feet, it seems, and he says, "Let's just give up everything and go. I know the goal of my life. There is nothing but Nama Prachara, so let's leave immediately." Right? And he sings, "Mosa
ಹೋದೆನಲ್ಲೋ ನಾನು ಮೋಸ ಹೋದೆನಲ್ಲೋ ಮೋಸ ಹೋದೆನಲ್ಲೋ ನಾನು ಮೋಸ ಹೋದೆನಲ್ಲೋ ಶೇಷ ಶಯನನಿಗೆ ಸೇವಕನಾಗದೆ ಶೇಷ ಶಯನನಿಗೆ ಸೇವಕನಾಗದೆ ವಾಸುದೇವನಿಗೆ ದಾಸನಾಗದೆ ಶೇಷ ಶಯನನಿಗೆ ಸೇವಕನಾಗದೆ ವಾಸುದೇವನಿಗೆ ದಾಸನಾಗದೆ ಮೋಸ ಹೋದೆನಲ್ಲೋ ನಾನು ಮೋಸ ಹೋದೆನಲ್ಲೋ ಯನವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಶ್ರೀಹರಿಪದ ನಂಬದೆ 9 ವರುಷ ಮೋಹತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಯನವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಶ್ರೀಹರಿಪದ ನಂಬದೆ 9 ವರುಷ ಮೋಹತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮೋಸ ಹೋದೆನಲ್ಲೋ ನಾನು ಮೋಸ ಹೋದೆನಲ್ಲೋ ಸುರವರ ತರುವಾಗಿ ಸುಸ್ಥಿರವಾದಂತೆ ಪುರದರ ವಿಠಲನ ಚರಣವ ಬಿಗಿಯ ಸುರವರ ತರುವಾಗಿ ಸುಸ್ಥಿರವಾದಂತೆ ಪುರದರ ವಿಠಲನ ಚರಣವ ಬಿಗಿಯದೆ ಮೋಸ ಹೋದೆನಲ್ಲೋ ನಾನು ಮೋಸ ಹೋದೆನಲ್ಲೋ ಮೋಸ ಹೋದೆನಲ್ಲೋ ನಾನು ಮೋಸ ಹೋದೆನಲ್ಲೋ.
So he says, I was cheated. I was cheated by this attachment to wealth. I wasted 30 years without being the sevaka of Sheshashayana. Right? And he says, it's time for us to pack up, let's leave. He calls his wife, he says, take the children and we'll go. And his wife Saraswati Bai, she says, when Sri Ramachandra Mahaprabhu went to the exile, Sita Mata gave away everything in charity. We'll also give in charity. And Sinappa Nayaka, see the change. He says, once I know it is not mine, how will I give charity? Let's just go. Right? There are many people who will say, if I have extra, I will give. Right? Giving can never be extra. It has to be given. Right? So he says, if it's not mine, you just have to give. Then all his relatives and friends, they come and they say, you'll have all the relatives, once they hear that, they feel sad, right? They come and say, why are you giving everything? How will you live? What will you do for a living? Right? And then he says, Madhukara Vritti Ennadu. Right? He says, a saint, he has to take charity alms from people like a honeybee. The honeybee drinks nectar from the flowers. without destroying the flowers. Like that, a sadhu needs to take alms without causing any trouble to the person who is giving it in charity. So he sings Madhukara Vritti ennudu.
ಮಧುಕರ ವೃತ್ತಿ ಎನ್ನದು ಮಧುಕರ ವೃತ್ತಿ ಎನ್ನದು ಅದು ಬಲು ಚೆನ್ನದು ಮಧುಕರ ವೃತ್ತಿ ಎನ್ನದು ಅದು ಬಲು ಚೆನ್ನದು ಮಧುಕರ ವೃತ್ತಿ ಎನ್ನದು
Where will you go? Right? How many times you can go to the same house and ask for alms, right? So I asked him, where will you go? He says, nothing to worry.
ಪಂಡರಾಪುರವೆಂಬ ದೊಡ್ಡ ನಗರ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಠೋಬ ಎಂಬ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸಾಹುಕಾರ ಪಂಡರಾಪುರವೆಂಬ ದೊಡ್ಡ ನಗರ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಠೋಬ ಎಂಬ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸಾಹುಕಾರ ವಿಠೋಬನಿರುವುದು ನದಿ ತೀರ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂಡಾರಿ ಭಜನೆ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರ ವಿಠೋಬನಿರುವುದು ನದಿ ತೀರ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂಡಾರಿ ಭಜನೆ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರ ಪಂಡರಾಪುರವೆಂಬ ದೊಡ್ಡ ನಗರ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಠೋಬನೆಂಬ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸಾಹುಕಾರ ತಂದೆ ನೀನೆ ತಾಯಿ ನೀನೆ ಪಾಂಡುರಂಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಬಂಧು ನೀನೆ ಮಗ ನೀನೆ ಪಾಂಡುರಂಗ ತಂದೆ ನೀನೆ ತಾಯಿ ನೀನೆ ಪಾಂಡುರಂಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಬಂಧು ನೀನೆ ಮಗ ನೀನೆ ಪಾಂಡುರಂಗ ಭಕ್ತರ ಪೋಷಕ ಪಾಂಡುರಂಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಮುಕ್ತಿದಾಯಕ ಪಾಂಡುರಂಗ ಭಕ್ತರ ಪೋಷಕ ಪಾಂಡುರಂಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಮುಕ್ತಿದಾಯಕ ಪಾಂಡುರಂಗ ಪಂಡರಾಪುರವೆಂಬ ದೊಡ್ಡ ನಗರ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಠೋಬನೆಂಬ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸಾಹುಕಾರ ಶ್ರೀಹರಿ ವಿಠಲ ಪಾಂಡುರಂಗ ಜಯ ಹರಿ ವಿಠಲ ಪಾಂಡುರಂಗ ಶ್ರೀಹರಿ ವಿಠಲ ಪಾಂಡುರಂಗ ಜಯ ಹರಿ ವಿಠಲ ಪಾಂಡುರಂಗ ವಿಠಲ ವಿಠಲ ಪಾಂಡುರಂಗ ಮಮ ಪುರಕರ ವಿಠಲ ಪಾಂಡುರಂಗ ವಿಠಲ ವಿಠಲ ಪಾಂಡುರಂಗ ಮಮ ಪುರಕರ ವಿಠಲ ಪಾಂಡುರಂಗ ಪಂಡರಾಪುರವೆಂಬ ದೊಡ್ಡ ನಗರ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಠೋಬನೆಂಬ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸಾಹುಕಾರ ಪಂಡರಾಪುರವೆಂಬ ದೊಡ್ಡ ನಗರ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಠೋಬನೆಂಬ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸಾಹುಕಾರ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಠೋಬನೆಂಬ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸಾಹುಕಾರ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಠೋಬನೆಂಬ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸಾಹುಕಾರ
Then on his way, as he's traveling, he first meets Vyasarajuru. Vyasarajuru was also a minister in the Krishnadevaraya court, and he has seen Sinappa Nayaka coming there many times, and he was waiting for this day. He knew someday he's going to come, right? So he was waiting for him, and once he came there, he accepted to be his guru, and he named him Purandara Dasa. And he gave him the Nama Diksha. And Purandara Dasa now wanted to stay with him. Right? So he requests Vyasarajuru and he says, I would like to stay here and do the Nama Kirtan and be along with you. But Vyasarajuru told him, no, this is not your destiny. You have to travel. You have to go around. There are a lot of people who don't understand Nama Siddhanta. We have had great Mahans like Tyagaraja Swami or Dikshitar or Shyama Shastri, but they all sang in a language that the common man couldn't understand. Right? So he says it is your duty to spread this Nama Kirtanam among common people. So you have to move on. So from there he leaves and he goes around the villages talking about Nama, and he always liked to start with the young children. Right? In Bhagavatam, Prahlada Maharaja says that the Manusha Janma is Durlabham. Right? There are some 84 lakh yonis, different types of living beings on earth, out of which getting a human form is very, very rare. And once you get that form, you have to make use of it by attaining liberation, by seeking Bhagavan. Right? So he believes, Prahlada Maharaja says, Kaumara Acharet Pragnyo Dharman Bhagavadan Iha Durlabham Manusha Janmam Tad Api Adhruvam Artadam. So he says, if there are people who are sufficiently intelligent to understand Bhagwan's names, start giving Bhagwan names to them. Right? So even if they are little children, please give them the names of Bhagwan, because that will grow in them. Right? So like that, Purandara Dasu, he also believed that anybody and everybody could chant Bhagwan Nama. Right? So he sings Narajanma
Bandaga Narige Girubaga Krishnayana Bharate Manuja Narajanma Bandaga Narige Girubaga Krishnayana Bharate Krishna Yandare Sakala Kashtavu Parihara Krishnayana Bharate Krishna Yandare Sakala Kashtavu Parihara Krishnayana Bharate Malagittu Mai Muridu Yelutta Krishnayana Bharate Manuja Malagittu Mai Muridu Yelutta Krishnayana Bharate Sulidaduta Manayolagada Krishnayana Bharate Snana Pana Japa Tapagala Maduta Krishnayana Bharate Manuja Snana Pana Japa Tapagala Maduta Krishnayana Bharate Shalyana Shatasa Tindu Triptavanagi Krishnayana Bharate Tavanagi Krishnayana Bharate Kandane Bigi Bigi Du Appi Muttaduta Krishnayana Bharate Manuja Kandane Bigi Bigi Du Appi Muttaduta Krishnayana Bharate Bandaga Viniyolu Sarasava Dutalumme Krishnayana Bharate Gandhava Bhusi Tambulavu Meluvaga Krishnayana Bharate Manuja Gandhava Bhusi Tambulavu Meluvaga Krishnayana Bharate ಬಾರದೆ ಹಾಡಿಗೆ ನಡೆವಾಗ ಬಾಲವ ಹುಡುವಾಗ ಕೃಷ್ಣಾಯನ ಬಾರದೆ ಪರಿಹಾಸ್ಯ ಮಾತನಾಡುತ್ತಲೊಮ್ಮೆ ಕೃಷ್ಣಾಯನ ಬಾರದೆ ಮನುಜ ಪರಿಹಾಸ್ಯ ಮಾತನಾಡುತ್ತಲೊಮ್ಮೆ ಕೃಷ್ಣಾಯನ ಬಾರದೆ ಪರಿಪಾಡಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಪರಿಪಾಡಿ ಕೆಲಸದೊಂದು ಕೆಲಸವೆಂದು ಕೃಷ್ಣಾಯನ ಬಾರದೆ ದುಡಿದ ರಾಶಿಗಳನ್ನು ತೆರೆದು ಬೆಸಾಡುವ ಕೃಷ್ಣಾಯನ ಬಾರದೆ ಮನುಜ ದುಡಿದ ರಾಶಿಗಳನ್ನು ತೆರೆದು ಬೆಸಾಡುವ ಕೃಷ್ಣಾಯನ ಬಾರದೆ ಗರುಡ ಗಮನ ನಮ್ಮ ಪುರಂದರ ವಿಠಲನ ಕೃಷ್ಣಾಯನ ಬಾರದೆ ಗರುಡ ಗಮನ ನಮ್ಮ ಪುರಂದರ ವಿಠಲನ ಕೃಷ್ಣಾಯನ ಬಾರದೆ ಕೃಷ್ಣಾಯನ ಬಾರದೆ ಕೃಷ್ಣಾಯನ ಬಾರದೆ
So, like this, he keeps singing and he keeps asking people to chant the names of Bhagwan. You have many songs where he requests people to sing, to do Nama Japam. The Rama Rama, Rama Sita Eniro, Rama Rama Eniro. There are many songs like that. And as he keeps traveling, he now reaches Tirupati and he sees the 7 hills. Sheshadri, Neeladri, Garudadri, Anjadri, Vrishabhadri, Narayanadri and Venkatadri. And when he sees those hills, he thinks that there is Vaikuntha there. He imagines Vaikuntha there and he goes to the peak of the hill, one of the hills there, and looking at Vaikuntha there, he sings, Venkata.
వెంకటాచల నిలయం వైకుంఠపురవాసం వైకుంఠపురవాసం పంకజనేత్రం పరమ పవిత్రం పంకజనేత్రం పరమ పవిత్రం శంఖచక్రధర చిన్మయ రూపం వెంకటాచల నిలయం వైకుంఠపురవాసం వెంకటాచల నిలయం వైకుంఠపురవాసం అంబుజోద్భవ వినుతం అంబుజోద్భవ వినుతం అగణిత గుణనామం అంబుజోద్భవ వినుతం అగణిత గుణనామం తుపురు నారద గణవిలోలు తుపురు నారద గణవిలోలు అంబుదీశయన శ్రీ ఆత్మాభిరామం అంబుదీశయన శ్రీ ఆత్మాభిరామం వెంకటాచల నిలయం వైకుంఠపురవాసం పంకజనేత్రం పరమ పవిత్రం శంఖచక్రధర చిన్మయ రూపం వెంకటాచల నిలయం వైకుంఠపురవాసం
Then he enters the Garbhagudi and looks at Lord Srinivasa, the Abhayahastam, the half-closed eyes, but his compassionate glance, the feet, the Shanku Chakra, the Vaidurya that he wears, the Lakshmi Ankam. And seeing all that, he sings, Shrikanta Yanagishtu Dayamado. Tande. Here he uses the word Tande because looking at our Tirupati Balaji, he feels that his fatherly compassion should be upon him, right? So he uses the word Tande here. And he says, Ekantadalli ninna bhajisuva saubhagya. So he got the fortune to do his nama alone when nobody is around him, right? So he sings that. And he also asks for forgiveness because he spent his entire life taking care of the needs of kings and queens instead of serving him. Then he sees all the people who come to Pushkarani have a shower, they shake their hair, and all of them in unison, they all go, Govinda, Govinda. Right? Some of them only say, Govinda, Govinda. Right? He listens to those names, it vibrates in his ears, and he feels it is so nice, so much ruchi in that name. Right? And he sings, Govinda Ninna Namave Chanda. He sings Govinda Ninna Namave Chanda. Then he comes down the hill and he sees our Taya, Amman, and he's mesmerized by her beauty. Right? The sari she wears, the nose ring, the earrings, right? He's mesmerized and he says, you have to come with me, right? And he sings, Bhagya Lakshmi Varamma, Bhagya Lakshmi Varamma, Namam Bali Saubhagya Lakshmi Varamma, Namam Bali Saubhagya Lakshmi Varamma. He then comes down to Tamil Nadu, to this place Namakkal, and there is Namakkal Narasimha there. This Narasimha is very special because he has blood stains in his fingers, which is something you can see even now. Even during the British times, they tried to remove the stains, but it never vanished. It's still there. So he looks at this Narasimha. He also sees Namagiri Amman. She is also very famous. Our Dr. C.V. Raman would say that whenever he had maths problems that he couldn't solve, he would sleep and in his dream she would come and solve it for him. Right? So this is such a wonderful kshetram. He comes to this kshetram and he looks at this Narasimha and he sings. Nambidavan Simharupanada Shri Hari He Ramagiri Shani Simharupanada Shri Hari Then he comes to the Tantotri Malai. Tantotri Malai means something that has come by itself, Udbhava Agitu. So he comes to the Tantotri Malai and he looks at the Srinivasa there, and when he looks at the Srinivasa, he gets a peculiar darshanam. He sees Srinivasa with all the planets on his body. And the entire universe seems to be there in this figure of Srinivasa. And here he sings the song Sakala Graha Phalanine Sarasika. Then as he goes by village to village singing songs, he once reaches a village where this little boy walking in front of him is singing Krishna Ni Begane Baro, probably like me, right? And it was not in pitch, it was not in ragam, right? And for a minute, our Purandarasu got offended, right? I sang all these songs with so much bhakti, and this boy is singing, random, something and all, right? It's not in tune. How will people enjoy? What kind of singing is this? With little amount of pride. The next day morning, when he took his tambura and he was out for his Unjivrati, he couldn't sing at all. He's trying to sing, he's not able to open his mouth and sing well, right? Immediately he seeks forgiveness, and then he goes and he prays to the Rama temple in that village. He falls at the feet of that Rama and he conducts Akhanda Nama on that day. It happens to be Sri Ramanavami as well. So he conducts an Akhanda Nama there, and when he's closing his eyes and in Dhyana, Hanuman comes there. Right? And when Hanuman comes there, suddenly his voice also opens up and he sings Shri Rama Dwani Keli Nama Manege, Shri Rama Nama Dwani Keli Nama Manege, Pradavanta Mukhya Pradavanta, Pradavanta Mukhya Pradavanta, Shri Rama Nama Dwani Keli Nama Manege, Shri Rama Nama Dwani Keli Nama Manege, Pradavanta Mukhya Pradavanta, Pradavanta Mukhya Pradavanta, Padaga Ije Galuga Padaga Ije Galuga Galu Galu Jenuta Nada Maduta, Galu Galu Jenuta Nada Maduta, Pradavanta Mukhya Pradavanta, Pradavanta Mukhya Pradavanta, Shri Rama Nama Dwani Keli Nama Manege, Shri Rama Nama Dwani Keli Nama Manege, Pradavanta Mukhya Pradavanta, Pradavanta Mukhya Pradavanta, Tumbur Nagadaru Vinaya Bari Sutta, Tumbur Nagadaru Vinaya Bari Vinaya Bari Sutta, Guni Guni Naduta, Vinaya Bari Sutta, Guni Guni Naduta, Pradavanta Mukhya Pradavanta, Pradavanta Mukhya Pradavanta, Purandara Vimalana Nevedu Bhandari, Purandara Vimalana Nevedu Bhandari, Nevedu Padutari Hari Jana Maduta, Nevedu Padutari Hari Jana Maduta, Pradavanta Mukhya Pradavanta, Pradavanta Mukhya Pradavanta, Shri Rama Nama Dwani Keli Nama Manege, Shri Rama Nama Dwani Keli Nama Manege, Pradavanta Mukhya Pradavanta, Pradavanta Mukhya Pradavanta, Pradavanta Mukhya Pradavanta. Then he went to the Aprameya temple in Malur near Chennapatna, and he sees the Ambegal Krishna there, the crawling Krishna. He imagines Krishna crawling into the temple there, opening his mouth, showing the Jagat in his mouth, and he gets so emotional. He wants to sing a lullaby for this Krishna, and he sings Jagadodharana. Sri Purandarasu had made a sankalpa of singing around 5 lakh songs in his lifetime, but he was able to do only 4,75,000. So he requested his younger son, Madhvapati, to sing the rest of the 25, and the son promised to do it in his next birth. And it is believed that he was born as Sri Vijayadasa, and he sang the 25,000 songs. Our Guru Maharaj also says that Ammalu Ammal, who was blessed by Parikal Narasimhan, is also an Amsha of Purandara Dasa. She sings very simple songs which can be sung by everybody in daily life, and it is always, she had this wonderful vision. She I don't have the time to go through her life, but the most important thing is she was able to sit in her house in Kumbakonam, and she would sing about some Bhagavan, right? And she would describe them. She would describe their dress, their attire, their crown for that day. And if you go to that particular temple on the day, you would see that Bhagavan was adorned with the same kind of dress. So she was such a great sadhu. One small song of hers, and then we will conclude this session.
ನಂಬಿದವರಿಗೆ ಕೇಳಿಲ್ಲ, ನಂಬಿದವರಿಗೆ ಭಯವಿಲ್ಲ, ನಂಬಿದವರಿಗೆ ಕೇಳಿಲ್ಲ, ನಂಬಿದವರಿಗೆ ಭಯವಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಂಬುಜನಾಮ ಆನಂದ ಸ್ವರೂಪ ಅಯೋಧ್ಯ ರಾಮ ಎಂದಿರುವ, ಅಂಬುಜನಾಮ ಆನಂದ ಸ್ವರೂಪ ಅಯೋಧ್ಯ ರಾಮ ಎಂದಿರುವ. ಭಕ್ತರ ಬೆನ್ನಿಂದೆ ತಿರುಗಿರುವ, ಭಕ್ತರ ಗುಡಿಗೆ ತಿರುಗಿರುವ, ಭಕ್ತರ ಬೆನ್ನಿಂದೆ ತಿರುಗಿರುವ, ಭಕ್ತರ ಗುಡಿಗೆ ತಿರುಗಿರುವ. ಭಕ್ತರಿಗೆ ಬಂದ ಆಪತ್ತುಗಳ ಪರಿಹಾರವನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿರುವ, ಭಕ್ತರಿಗೆ ಬಂದ ಆಪತ್ತುಗಳ ಪರಿಹಾರವನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿರುವ. ನಂಬಿದವರಿಗೆ ಕೇಳಿಲ್ಲ, ನಂಬಿದವರಿಗೆ ಭಯವಿಲ್ಲ. ಭಕ್ತರ ಆಡಿದವನು, ಭಕ್ತರ ನುಡಿಯೇ ನಡೆಯುವನು. ಭಕ್ತವತ್ಸಲ ಅಂಬಾನು ಪ್ರಿಯ ಪ್ರಕಟನವಾಗಿಯೇ ನೆಲೆಯುವನು. ಅಂಜಿಕೆಯೇನು ಪಡಬೇಡ, ಅಂಜಿಕೆ ಚಿಂತನೆ ಕೆಡಬೇಡ. ಕಂಚನಾಭ ಕಮಲದ ನಾಶ ಅಯೋಧ್ಯ ರಾಮ ಎನ್ನುತ್ತಿರು. ನಂಬಿದವರಿಗೆ ಕೇಳಿಲ್ಲ, ನಂಬಿದವರಿಗೆ ಭಯವಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಂಬುಜನಾಭ ಆನಂದ ಸ್ವರೂಪ ಅಯೋಧ್ಯ ರಾಮ ಎಂದಿರುವ. ನಂಬಿದವರಿಗೆ ಕೇಳಿಲ್ಲ, ನಂಬಿದವರಿಗೆ ಭಯವಿಲ್ಲ.
While gurus like Prahlada, while bhaktas like Prahlada or Dhruva or Ajamila or Gajendra, they all got the blessings of Narada or Bhagavan himself. We are all blessed with gurus in our life whom we follow, and they are no less than Narada to us. And one true example to it is Sri Purandara Dasa. And we are blessed to be in a country or from a country like Bharat, where you have sadhus every step. They just grow like grass, right? And they grow in all situations, right? Just like grass can grow in a desert, when it grows in desert, it slowly brings up an oasis and you find water there. If you go to cold places where there is just snow, it grows there, and by growing there, it brings some vegetation for people to eat, right? In both ways, it gives tushti and pushti to all of us. Similarly, on this auspicious occasion of Krishna Janmashtami, we pray that we all get this Guru Bhakti. We all get, through Guru Bhakti, we all get the blessings of Bhagavan. Even if we don't get the blessings of Bhagavan, if we just hold on to our Guru's feet, when he sees Bhagwan, will be blessed, right? So we are fortunate to be under the guidance of our Guru Maharaj, and I would like to thank you all for having listened to me patiently today. I hope I did justice to Sri Purandara Dasru, and let us hope to continue this journey of Nama Sankirtanam together forever. Thank you, Avinash. Thank you, Adira. Thank you. We'll conclude the session with Hare Rama.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
स्मरणं गोविंदा सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय।